All right, welcome to this Business Made Easy evening together. My name is Carrie Sammons, and my husband, Gary Sammons, is joining me from another part of our home on a different computer. Say hi, Gary. I think you're muted. But see.
Sorry, I know how to use Zoom. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. By the way, I love seeing some guys on here too. This is a great class for guys. Guys like this kind of talk. So thank you.
And we have a really great lineup planned for you. So anyhow, to kick us off here, I'm really excited to hear from a couple of our fabulous leaders that were willing to be brave and share with the group tonight their reasons for why they decided to share dōTERRA. And Kate, I see you. Would you be willing to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I was just looking at that video and seeing how your kids have even grown since then. But I met Carrie when she was pregnant with Emily, and she taught an oil class, and I had no idea what oils were, but my friend Neil invited me to that class in my neighborhood, and I just started using the oils. But I had a job that I really loved, and I was, just focused on that. But I just started sharing. Like, if you're a person who shares things that you like, that's kind of how I am. And I like solving problems for people and helping. So I was giving a lot of oil away just to people. I think I gave a whole LLV pack to someone one time because I just really thought it would help. That's not a way to do a business, but I had been in ministry. And so that was kind of like my mindset that I was in. But then I was seeing that I was earning an income just from sharing. And after my first baby was born, I was working part-time to balance that, mom life. And I was paying a friend to watch my baby, and I was juggling all the things. And I happened to get a paycheck from dōTERRA that was better than my paycheck from my church job. And it just kind of was a no-brainer. It was like, I can be fully invested in my family. I can still volunteer at church. I can still be involved in church. But my why, when I started sharing, was really just to kind of have a little supplemental income, or, pay for those organic groceries or better cleaning products. Now dōTERRA has all these cleaning products, but we used to DIY everything. So it just kind of expanded from there, it just started little bits at a time. So some people get a grand vision of I'm going to retire my husband or something like that. But mine was just very gradual and grew as I grew and as my family grew. And so we had the option last year where my husband could work remotely and we could be full-time family. And I had the option to homeschool my kids. When things got weird in the world, and I was like, I just want them with me. So I don't know if that's something we'll do forever, but I like having options, and I like having more control over my life and being able to help people. So
I love that. Super powerful. And I think that probably resonates with a lot of people that are on here, Kate. And if that resonates with you, don't hesitate to drop messages in the chat and let us know. And if you're not one of the ones that is sharing live on this call with your testimony, I still want to invite you to share here with us in the chat why it is that you have decided to share dōTERRA. So next, though, we're going to pass the microphone over to Taylor Carey. Taylor, you out there?
I'm out there.
Okay, girl.
Hi, I'm Taylor. My story is kind of similar to Kate's, actually, but I started using oils right after college by my upline, Leanne, who is also my cousin, who's more like a sister. And they were kind of just not really an option for me to use them because she just cared about me and I was really skeptical. And then next thing I knew, I was just sharing them with everyone I worked with. And then one day she was like, do you think you want to do this? And I was like, no. I mean, I like them. I'm going to share them and give them away, but I don't want to do this. And then I just kept sharing them because that's what you do when you have something that works and that people need. And then I was like, okay, actually, I changed my mind. Um, and then when I have 2 babies and 1 on the way. And so I knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and I didn't want to have to choose where to send them. And so once I had my first daughter, who's 4 now, I quit my job and was able to just do doTERRA, which is really pretty easy when you're a mom that stays home because you're meeting all these other moms and they all have kids who have snotty noses or whatever it may be. And so it just is really natural. Like it doesn't feel like it's a job. It's just fun to do. So that's my story.
It's a beautiful story too, and it keeps going. I love it. Thank you, Taylor. All right, Drina, you are up next. Share with us your heart behind this question, why you decided to share doTERRA.
Hi, everybody. My name's Drina. So I started sharing in about 2015. I ended up at a class that Lori Voss, who's on here, was teaching. And at that class, all I knew was I had been listening to health and wellness podcasts. I was looking for help with some emotional things I was going through and some stuff for my kids. My kids at the time were about 15 and 12. So while we had snotty noses, you kind of grow into some other things when they had looking for a lot of support for my family. And at the class, when I smelled doTERRA's peppermint, I was blown away in comparison to what I had at home. And when Lori explained the quality and the purity and the co-impact sourcing, and I just, in my heart, I knew I was like, I need to do this. I didn't even know what this meant fully. I just knew that this is why I landed at that class, because some other things had happened prior to. I was introduced to another company, and I really just felt like the Holy Spirit said, just listen. And that was just weeks before. And so when I got invited to this class, I said, yes, I'm going to this class. And so that's my journey. And I was looking for that support. And I also knew when I first smelled Serenity and Balance, I needed those, I wanted those, and I probably wanted everything else that I saw that night. So the best way to do that was to share and get some of my oils paid for. And so now I really think the question isn't, why do I share? The question is more, why would I not share? If I'm finding that support for myself and I can help other people's issues and support them, why would I not share? So that is my journey and why I started sharing with doTERRA.
I love that. That's a great quote for the night, is why would I not share? Because so many of us could attest that we are already catching ourselves sharing, whether we meant to or not, right? So thank you so much, Drina, for sharing those heartfelt words. And thank you for everybody that's already dropping testimonials in the chat. I hope everybody has that open so you can start to read these other additional powerful stories. So I'm going to share my screen now, because we are about to, just to kind of let everybody know how the flow of this evening is going to go. Hold on here. Let me get my little presentation pulled back up. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. And let me try and get the chat pulled back up so I can see you all engaging in that way as well. Okay, so here's how the flow is going to be. We're going to hopefully be answering some of the basic questions that a lot of you might have. Why doTERRA? That's one of the first things that was kind of addressed in the video, but Leanne is going to cover more of the kind of the heart behind doTERRA and why it is that you might want to partner with a company like this. We're going to talk about answering questions. How do you make money? How much time is involved? Could this work for me? And then what would the next steps look like? So as we're going to go through this, we're going to just pass the baton from one leader to the next. And as they share, you'll also, I'm sure they're going to work in kind of their own reasons why they shared and their own reasons why this really made sense for them and their family. So Leanne Stork, one of my best friends that's in Colorado, you are up next.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie. I get to explain a little bit more about the opportunity. My name is Leanne, and I actually live in Colorado. I started this in Ohio with very similar stories to the ones that were shared tonight. I never thought I would share, and I also had small babies, and now I have stinky teenagers. So I can actually run the gamut on that. I started 12, 13 years ago, so it's been a while. Okay, so I just want to pose these questions to you, and I would encourage you to actually really stop and consider what your answer really is, because you're here for a reason. So what would be the best part of running your own business? Maybe you want to be your own boss. Maybe you want the time freedom. There's lots of benefits. There's also some drawbacks to running your own business, because the buck actually stops with you, right? And then how do you feel about network marketing? I'm going to kind of camp here for a second, because I would venture to say that for the majority of people who consider doTERRA, their hangup really isn't with anything except for this issue. And so I would actually encourage you to actually start digging into where your rub is with network marketing. When I started this, so a little quick story. I learned about this one night. My mother-in-law actually lived with us. She had her own apartment in our basement. And while I listened to the class and I tried all the amazing oils, I knew two things. Number one, I didn't want to do this. And number two, I was going to go straight downstairs and tell my mother-in-law she needed to sign up so she could get a free Deep Blue because she had arthritis. I mean, I could tell you all the things. So without even really giving it, I really didn't think about it. A week later, I got a paycheck, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. So, and I've never stopped since. But I was really hung up on the network marketing part because I had a bad experience. And if you have a hang up with network marketing, I would say it's probably because you've also had a bad experience. And I would just stop and just say, work through this, because it will iron itself out. And also take heart in knowing that pyramid schemes are illegal. But network marketing is actually something that's taught at Harvard. There are many of the richest people in the world that when they are asked what they would do if they had to start all over, they would do it with network marketing. And like someone said earlier, I forget who said this, but we all are in sales. I talked to one of my son's coaches this week, and he said, I was in sales and I hated it. I was miserable. I just wanted to coach baseball. I'm like, sweet. Well, here's the deal. We're all selling something. You're selling something, whether it's to your children, whether it's to the people you work with. It doesn't really matter. We're selling something. We could be selling something that we're never going to see a return on, like a great restaurant or an awesome new product. We do this all the time. And when you love the product and when the product works, it doesn't feel like you're stuck in sales. It doesn't feel like you're going to hate it, because it comes from such an authentic place. So I would really encourage you to drill in on how and why you're hung up on network marketing, if that's where you're hung up on, because I can relate. I was there. I didn't want to be one of those people. Okay, what intrigues you about the opportunity with doTERRA? I mean, what is it? Is it because you had a profound experience? Is it because you love the people that you're seeing sharing on these calls? There's something, and there's something that draws you, and there's a reason why you're here. So I would actually encourage you also to drill into this. And then what would residual income look like for your family? For me, when I started, I knew I wanted the products. We had 3 boys who were snotty all the time, so I knew I was going to use them and I was going to need to replace them. But what I didn't want to have to do is try to sell this to my husband in terms of the budget. He's the budgeter in our family. And so when I got the first paycheck, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually working towards paying for our product, and I don't have to find the money in the budget, which I am not a budgeter. And so when I found out years later, we get direct deposit, and what I make actually doesn't really excite me, to be honest. So I don't deal with it. It comes into our bank account, it goes out to pay bills. I don't pay our bills either. But one day I was talking to my husband, we were having our budgeting meeting, which is my favorite meeting. And he said something that my paycheck was covering our mortgage. And for me as a stay-at-home mom, this was an amazing accomplishment and a contribution to our family, that as a stay-at-home mom who got to enjoy her boys, I was actually still helping the household finances, not only just paying for our product. So again, figure out what that income would look like for you. Maybe it's a car payment, maybe it's organic groceries, like someone said, maybe it's a school tuition. There's a lot of different ways that income can resonate with you. And so I would try to figure, in order to find out what you want to make, find out what it would mean to you in terms of making it. I'm ready, Carrie. So on that note, what does financial freedom look like for you? I've already shared this. I already really covered this. I would say figure out a dollar amount. The best way to make a plan if you want to start sharing doTERRA is honestly to have a goal and make it reasonable, but also make it a little bit audacious. Think of a number that would be really helpful to your household finances and then make that your goal. I'm ready, Carrie. Okay, so traditional job versus authentic direct sales. Okay, I think we can all resonate with a traditional job, right? You're trading hours for dollars. You clock in and you clock out, whether you're salary or you're hourly, it doesn't really matter. You're still trading hours for dollars. There's a limit on advancements and earnings. None of you who have a traditional job are ever going to outrank your boss, and you will never out-earn your boss. There's limited time freedom. Some of you have more of it than others, but either way, you're still limited. And here's the root of it all: is you're really building someone else's dream, right? Whether your company is public, private, it really doesn't matter. Someone else started the company, and you are part of building that person's dream. As compared to authentic direct sales, true residual income. So this is one of the coolest things. When I am sleeping or on vacation, or I had a year where I had a son who was in a really, really hard place, and I ended up having to take almost an entire year off, I still made money. I don't have to actively be working, trading time for money. I still can make money because of the residual income that doTERRA affords me. I know that all of you have had jobs in the past, and I think we can all agree that regardless of what job you've had in the past, when you get to, let's say, your next job, you're not still getting paid for the job you had previously, right? I'm not still getting paid for the time I was a barista at Starbucks 25 years ago, unfortunately. But I am still getting paid for sharing oils with someone 12 years ago because these products work and those people are still using these products. Freedom to choose your own schedule. This is huge. It doesn't matter if you're employed. I know people who have been super successful as full-time employees. I also know stay-at-home moms who have worked around naps and bedtimes to make that happen. And then you're building your dreams. doTERRA really is what I put into it. And when I take it, when it dies down or has to fizzle out or has to take a back seat, it doesn't mean that I can't keep building my dream. It's still going to be there when I return. Now, it doesn't necessarily help me when I take a break, but I'm building my dreams. And so I get to decide that. Okay, Carrie. Okay, why partner with doTERRA? We're going to kind of cover several aspects of the company. We'll start with doTERRA in terms of its products. Why partner with doTERRA? Because the products work. This is the most amazing thing. You don't have to keep selling Breathe to someone who has had their child have an averted, I'm trying to say, asthma attack, right? You don't have to have, when someone has a profound experience with these oils, we don't have to keep selling the product because the product already did the work. And the beautiful thing is, because it worked for one thing, it translates to so many other conditions. People are way more willing to try an oil for another condition when they've seen that it works for X, Y, or Z that they started with. I think that's probably the biggest thing. This is the most trusted, the most tested in terms of essential oils. There are millions of customers. There's way more than 4.5. I think it's over 8 million, 10 million now. I don't know. It's more than 4.5. This is outdated. It's used by doctors and hospitals worldwide. And then let's talk retention. In terms of network marketing, the industry average is 13%. And actually that's pretty high. I would say most of them average less than that. But let's just say best case scenario, every other direct sales company averages 13%. Well, the retention rate of doTERRA is 65%. That means 65% of the people you share oils with actually will reorder because the oils work. We can go back to the effective point. And then everyone needs oils. Everyone can be a customer. And it doesn't matter how many people are, how many customers we have, we still have barely tapped the market. We still know people who now know about essential oils, but they don't actually know how to use them. And they don't know the difference between what they find at Whole Foods versus what they can get at doTERRA. I'm ready, Carrie. Okay. They've been proven. When I started 12, 13, I think it's almost 13. I think it'll be 13 this summer. When I started, we couldn't say that they were a proven company. They were brand new. We were just super impressed with their products, but they are the largest essential oil company in the world. They had a growth rate similar to Apple. And I don't know if anyone else out here had the first iPhone way back in, I don't know, 2008. I don't get any cuts for telling people how amazing that phone was. But doTERRA's had a similar rate, $1 billion company in 7 years. And when you talk to the owners now, they're saying like, we've really only just begun. So don't look at this and think, wow, well, they've already tapped out on growth. No, they still believe, based on all their studies, that we have really barely begun. In terms of the timing for opportunity, not only has doTERRA just begun, but considering the world situation right now, people are looking for a natural solution. People are looking for ways to build their immunity. We're talking way more about supplements than we have ever before. We are talking more about stress. People are stressed out more than they ever have been before. So the opportunity is still optimal. So don't be discouraged by that. It's a privately owned company. This is amazing. That means they don't have shareholders telling them how to run the business. They actually get to run the business the way they want to. It's privately owned. And on top of that, it's debt-free with no outside funding. And that's a really big deal. That means they get to decide what they do with their money, how they spend it. And their comp plan, if you've looked at it, which we'll look at a little later tonight, is very generous. And I love that. No one else dictates what they're going to do with it. And they also encourage us to live debt-free so that we can be free to give. And because they're debt-free, this also changes how they care about others. This is actually probably one of my most exciting, this is part of why I love doTERRA more than any of the other things, which are still very compelling. They have like a motto that they want to, we just heard it, do the most good, get the best oils and do the most good, or something like that. I'm sure I butchered it, but they really do go into places, even our incentive trips where our wellness advocates go just for fun. There's no business, it's just a fun trip. They always hope to leave wherever they're visiting, their host country or host place, better than when they came. So every trip always involves some service project of some sort. So they create partnerships with growers around the world. In essential oil industry, which is not regulated, a lot of the middlemen, a lot of the farmers, they just get taken advantage of. And they're encouraged to cheat the system because they're paid poorly and they're not treated well. doTERRA does the exact opposite. They preserve agricultural traditions, which that industry is dying worldwide. They try to help those people who are farming, whether they need a hospital or a school or fresh water. They are always looking for a way to give back because they feel like that's their duty. And so it's really easy to partner with them because as you and I build our businesses and as we are using our oils, every time I open up an oil, I'm helping someone in a different part of the world to live a healthy life because I'm bettering their life, because not just because of the money, but because I know doTERRA is going to do right by them, even aside from the money. So every purchase changes growers' lives and their communities. And I would encourage you, I'm going to end with this, go to source2u.com and there's a lot you can learn there, but namely you can actually look at the bottom of your bottle and you can actually see where your oil comes from. They're very transparent, which I love. That just gives them more and more credibility. And I would encourage you, what you don't know about doTERRA, go digging, go learn more, because the more you learn, I promise the more that you will love them as a company. And I am going to pass the baton now to Lori.
Unmuted now. Okay. So how do I make money? So yeah, these are the 4 basic things that we do. And I want to say before I even tell you about these, it's very important that the first step is to care about the people that you're talking with, because they can tell if you're just in it for the money. And so none of us like to feel like we're just in it for the money. The money's important and we do make money, but you need to care about the people. And so that's why we lead with the oils, because we say the oils do the heavy lifting for us, right? I mean, I can tell you all day about it, but the minute that I let you smell that peppermint or something, suddenly it's like, oh, I get it. So you can actually just open up a bottle that you have and let somebody put a drip in their hands, and that's sampling the oils with people. We do have little sample bottles that we give to people, and that's, you know, that's a little bit more fancy. But letting people experience the oils, that's the first thing, okay? When I was a brand new person with doTERRA, I was a teacher. And so I know I was so excited about how peppermint helped my headaches. And so I was sampling the other teachers at school saying, hey, I know you have headaches too. Try this and see if it works for you. And then they came back to me and they said, that really worked. How do I get this? And I was like, I guess you could get it from me. So that's the first step, is letting them experience the oils. Then teaching. So if somebody would say like, okay, well, how do I get this peppermint? Well, then you don't want to just sit down and blast them with the whole thing, but it is a good idea to either set up a one-on-one with them or invite them to a class. So at first, you're probably going to host a class, either one-on-one, or if you're going to host a online class or something at your home. And the person that is your helper in doTERRA, your enroller, will be the one to teach it. And you learn from them. So it's kind of like you're their apprentice. You also have access to many other online recordings that I never had that when we started, but you can watch other people. And then we also have scripts that you can read. So whatever you like doing better, but you're not going to suddenly be asked to get thrown in front of a class of people and teach. It's little by little, right? Then enrolling, that's when you actually help them get their own wholesale account. And then supporting them after that. It's not like you're just done with the sale and you're moving on. Once people get started, we take it seriously to help them know how to use their oils and to develop the daily habits with those people. And we set up like a wellness consult. Depends on your line of sponsorship, but with us, we have oil camp for brand new people. I know there's also emails and all kinds of things that we have. So these team-wide classes like we're doing right now are an awesome support for us. So that's basically what we do. We present, we invite, we present, and then we support. Okay. How much time is involved? So it depends on what you want to get out of it. All right. So if you are just, I mean, most of us, I think I was reading the chat, most of us kind of did just fall into this. I didn't really start out wanting to make a big business out of it, but I did really think it would be cool to at least get my products paid for. So that was all my huge, big goal. And that would take basically just like 3 to 5 hours a week. That would involve inviting some people to learn more about the oils and inviting them to a class or a sit down with you. And then, so paying for your product, that would be like anywhere between $100 and $200 a month, somewhere in that range. So to supplement your income, that's going to be more like $600 to $2,000 in that range. It's going to take a little bit more time. So for me, after I had my product paid for, I was like, oh, that's cool. Now what if I could get my car payment paid for? So, you know, as baby steps, I'm seeing other people in the chat saying the same thing. So 10 to 15 hours a week for me, that meant, so it's because I had a full-time teaching job and I was also moonlighting on the side teaching lessons. I decided to stop teaching lessons one day of the week. So I had a day that I could dedicate to doTERRA. So it's being a little bit more intentional about this. And in that time period, I also did go from having other people come in and teach classes for me to figuring out how to do it myself. So that's a step up there. And then replacing your income, that's when you're making as much from doTERRA as you are, say, on your own job. And for me, that was about 3 years because I was doing this very part-time. And then you get to make a decision whether you want to keep doing your job and doTERRA. And then you'll probably stay right at that income level. But if you want to grow with doTERRA, you can stop teaching full-time like I did and just do doTERRA. So once again, it's your decision where you want to go with this and how far you want to go with it. But it is there. I like to tell people, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do with this? Okay, Carrie. So could this work for me? So yes, so like very first thing I just said, you've got to be authentic. All right. It's very important that you're real. So are you passionate about your oils? That's really important. You have to have the belief in the oils and the supplements that this is going to better somebody's life by talking to them about it. It's like when you find out about something really, really great, you're wanting to tell people about it. I know there's people that say, well, oh, network marketing, you have to hit up your friends and your family. Well, I didn't feel like it was hitting them up. I was like, you need this because it's so good. I think everybody needs this. I can't believe that I had to wait this long before I found out about myself. I mean, that's the way I was. I was really passionate about it and I wanted everybody to know about it. Not because I wanted to make money, but because they needed to know about it. So yeah, so passionate about the oils, care about people. Those are two really, really, really important things. And then we do have a method, we have a system that really does work. It's not exactly a plug and play, but we do have a really good method that works. So if you can follow a system and then get things done, then this is for you. You can make it work. Okay. So I think is this me still, Carrie?
Yes, this is your last slide, Mom.
Okay, so why direct sales? Okay, so there's a built-in business model, product sourcing. This is a nice thing. When you start your own business, most of them, you have to invest a whole lot of money. And with this, you don't have a whole big lot of investing going on here. So, you know, you've got customer service already done for you. You don't have to inventory things. You don't have to develop products. All that overhead is amazing. And then, like I said, we have our own built-in education system. So we've got product education, we've got business trainings, you've got your own personal helper all the way. We got private mentoring to help you get going. And then low startup costs. So yeah, basically your only commitment is that to earn money with dōTERRA, you do need to have a 100 PV loyalty order each month. Now we have a hard time keeping it that low because we do all of our personal care products and our cleaning products and everything is dōTERRA. It's like our own store. So that's really not hard. So that's why direct sales is a really great way to go as far as making sure you don't have to invest a whole lot besides mostly what your time is. Okay.
All right. So how are you guys doing? All right, we're going to buzz through some things and I need you guys to look at these visuals, but more than that, we have resources that you guys can look at more in detail later. If you want to take some screenshots of these, this is kind of an overview really quick. This shows all of the different rankings. So I'm going to go through the different.
Make sure you introduce yourself really quickly too.
Okay.
People that don't know, haven't ever met you.
I am Laura Hicks and we are in Florida right now. And Carrie's one of my best friends. And she shared dōTERRA with us back in the day when we were still birthing babies and had a bunch of snotty little toddlers. And now we have all of these grown teenagers and getting bigger by the day. So we couldn't live without our oils. We absolutely love them. They've changed our life in so many ways. So they have just been a huge godsend to us. And so I couldn't, in the beginning, Carrie kept saying, hey, would you want to share these oils? And I said, no way, I'm not doing this. We have so many, different things that we're already invested in. And as far as time wise, because time is your biggest asset, right? And so I just continue to say no, all the while I was sharing them with everybody that I knew. And so she's like, you're actually already doing this. You should just put a little bit of intention behind it. And so for me, I was sharing very naturally for years. And finally, when I started putting intention behind it, I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is a total life changer. And so for me, what I'm about to show you guys, I wish that I would have known when I first started, because I would have been able to put a lot more intention behind my actions, which was already super passionate about the products. And so the other cool thing that I just want to highlight is we all are on different, pages. And so we all have different schedules and different families and different goals. And so right now it could be something where you're slow and steady, whereas down the road, it could be something, you know, that you have a really amazing base that you could start running a little bit faster. Or somebody that might be like, I'm going to run after this hardcore right now, might, like Leanne said, have to take a step back for a season. But the amazing thing, my father-in-law used to say, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, right? So if you envision this business being something that we're literally going to start sharing with intention, just out of, like Lori said, just out of, you know, our heart's desire to help people, we're really creating an amazing foundation for something that I always explain it kind of like a snowball, how it gains that momentum. And you actually can't stop the momentum once people start sharing and growing. And that's the beautiful part of network marketing. So Leanne, you had hit on network marketing. I think it's the most fabulous business model ever because it continues to grow. And there's a lot of people that are investing in that as well. So I love partnering with other people. So I'm going to show you guys really quick how you can partner with other people, invite them into this opportunity with you, put a little bit of intention behind it, and how you can maximize your growth and financial income. So for me, like I said, I didn't have a lot of intention in the beginning. And so I had a lot of wasted sales. So I had a ton of people ordering just that were good friends of mine. And I did not have any strategy behind what I was doing. And so I had a lot of left on the table opportunity. And so right now I've become really passionate about helping people not make the same mistakes that we made and be able to maximize every single dollar spent, right? Because if you can start making more income sooner, isn't that what we all would want? So Carrie, go ahead and switch to the next slide. This is just kind of an overview of all of the different rank advancements in doTERRA. And now we're going to break that same slide down into a little bit more in depth so you guys can read it. Again, there's amazing resources that doTERRA has put together that explain this in a really, it's called the build guide. So on your doTERRA order, if you guys add a build guide, you can buy just one or you can buy them in packs of 10. They are amazing. They're beautifully put together. It's all of this information that I'm going to touch on tonight. And I would highly recommend you guys grabbing one just so that you can see very specifically, you know, what exactly the potentials are with doTERRA. So when they talk about average income on this slide right here, that is an average company-wide. So it doesn't necessarily mean that when you hit executive rank advancement or elite or premier, that you're going to be making these averages, right? There's a lot of variables that go into that. It's going to be how large is your team? How much unilevel do you have? And that may sound like a foreign language to you, but I'm going to hit on some of those things and what that actually means in just a minute, but just know that that's an average. So there's a couple different, you know, there's director and manager, but when we get to executive rank, so if you're sharing doTERRA organically, if you're having classes and you're enrolling people, like Lori talked about how to enroll them onto your team, they get their own wholesale membership. Now they are on your team and you have $2,000, including your order and anybody else underneath you, you hit 2,000, you're going to hit the rank of executive. Okay. And then from there, we want to continue doing what you're doing and you're going to have 3,000 in overall sales. You're going to hit the rank of elite. And then from there, if you notice, there's two people underneath that kind of burgundy circle. So what this means, these are called, sometimes people call them a leg or sometimes people call them a team. So team and leg, it's the same thing, but we're going to have a different business partner, if you will, that is going to represent each one of those little people that's underneath that premier rank. Okay. So I actually always try and encourage people, listen, if you can think of two people from the very beginning that you want to start working with and helping them create, you know, and share doTERRA, even if it's slow and steady, they don't have to be quitting their job and wanting to run after this full time. But if they have vision for sharing doTERRA with others, they love the products, they love the integrity of the company, and they love you, and you guys have a good working relationship and they want to partner with you, they can become one of those teams underneath you. And so what you would do is help support them. So, you know, they had talked about tonight, helping support people on our team. So not just getting them enrolled, but then also supporting them. So what does that look like? When they have friends or family that want to get oils, we help them with that process, right? You can help teach those classes. When I first got started, Carrie taught a gazillion classes for me because I told her, I'm never going to teach a class. I can't remember all this information. I'm not going to know what to say. I don't want people asking me questions. And so she came and she taught so many classes. And then finally one day she said, okay, I'm going to kick you out of the nest. And I thought it was so rude. And she loved me enough to know that I was ready. And so for me, it was just a personal development issue of breaking past my fear, right? And so I knew word for word exactly what I was supposed to say in that class. I was ready. I was just scared. And so for me, I just was able to kind of break past, and it was really my passion for sharing these products with people that helped me break past. And so if you have some hangups and you're like, I can't do this, I'm not, going to be able to teach classes or educate people, you can, and you will do an awesome job. Sometimes you just have to break past some of those fears. Okay. And I will give you a tidbit. One of the biggest game changers for me in having not going past the passion, but having the confidence to build this as a business was understanding the products. So when they have these classes every single week, they're free to you guys to jump on and share with your people, but on how the products work, how we can be educated on, all of these. You may have not experienced most of the products in doTERRA. Maybe you have your favorite oils that you kind of stick to. Well, I can tell you these products are changing lives. And so learning what they're doing, learning how they're helping people, what they do in our body, it would give you such confidence to then be able to share with people. So I encourage you guys, jump on those classes and learn about the products, because then you have that much more passion, and you're empowered to then share them as you begin building these teams with intention. Okay. And so when we look at these rank advancements, this is up to you how fast you want to go. So you can look at this and say, man, I would love to be presidential diamond, but you also want to, work 5 hours a week. It's probably not going to be a realistic goal for you. Okay. And so you kind of get to navigate, what does my work schedule look like right now, what hours can I invest? What is some realistic goals? And I would tell you to work with the person that shared oils with you to kind of map out what is some realistic goals for you. How many hours a week do you feel like investing? How partnered can you be with your team, and begin setting out these goals? So Premier, you're going to have 2 different teams. And then Silver, you're going to have 3. So when you look at these 3 legs or these 3 teams, those represent 3 different people that you're partnering with to now help them share with their network and on their doTERRA journey. And go ahead and Carrie, go to the next slide for me. So I want you guys to look at really quick. If you look at gold, now you can't really tell, but gold average right here is about $4,700. How many of you guys would feel like $4,700 more a month could change your life? Right? Like Carrie talked about, it's like paying a mortgage, or Leanne talked about paying your mortgage, or going on vacation, or, doing the new house project. $4,700 a month is substantial in changing your life. Well, if you notice, there's 3 teams underneath gold, right? And so when you start making this attainable, bite-sized pieces, and it doesn't feel so overwhelming, we say, okay, how can I find 3 people? Now look at platinum. You still just need those same 3 teams. And all you're doing is the same thing that Lori talked about. We're educating, we're sharing the product, and we're helping people be empowered to then get their own oils in their own home. And again, up to platinum, which is about $9,200 a month average. Now, again, those are averages. How much would $9,200 a month change your life, right? Again, you still just need 3 teams underneath you. Now, beyond that, for diamond, you need 4 teams. Blue diamond is 5 teams, and presidential is 6 teams. Okay. We're not going to go into these super in depth, but I just want you guys to recognize that all the way up to platinum rank, which is a very high rank in doTERRA, you just need 3 different teams to be able to grow forward. So it's really amazing. And those 3 teams need 3 of their own teams, because that actually, a platinum rank actually represents 3 silvers. 3 silvers has 3 of their own teams, right? So again, I would highly recommend you guys tapping on a build guide onto your order, because it will really give you guys visual. I think a lot of times these things need to be seen really visual, but I want to show you guys this in a nutshell. So in just a minute, I'm going to talk about Unilevel. Unilevel is your entire team. You're going to get paid on every single sale that's done underneath you. So Carrie, go ahead and switch slides. And there's 3 ways to get paid in doTERRA. Okay. So when we talk about the 3 ways, I'm going to go through the fast start. This is the quickest way to get money when you're starting out with doTERRA, because they pay this fast start out every single week. Okay. So when you sign somebody with doTERRA, when they say, okay, how do I get my own oils? Help me get a kit. And you enroll them into doTERRA, doTERRA is going to pay you 20% of whatever they purchase for the first 60 days that they are enrolled. So not your 60 days, but their first 60 days. So anything that they order within 60 days of starting in doTERRA, you're going to get a check from doTERRA for 20% within the week of them purchasing that. So this is a really great way, because for us, when we first started with doTERRA, I didn't feel like that $100 was very realistic for us. We were a young family, and we had our own business, and things were kind of tight. So to spend $100 on oils felt like a lot to me. But I knew, well, if I can get these fast starts to pay for my oils, what a great way to justify it, right? So if you're sharing doTERRA, even with a handful of people a month, you definitely are going to be getting those fast starts back to cover your own personal order. So really quick, how this works on 3 levels deep. So you enroll Amy. Okay. So Amy's your sister. You're going to enroll Amy and you make 20% on whatever Amy orders. Amy now goes and she enrolls Joe. Joe orders a kit and Amy's going to make the 20%, right? Because she enrolled Joe. So she gets 20%, but because you enrolled Amy, you get 10%. Right. So visually kind of look at this and you'll track with it. And then Joe's loves his oils and he goes to share and he talks to Sue about the oils. Well, Joe's going to get that 20%. So good job, Joe. You got 20%. And Amy, you just got a 10% check from doTERRA. And I am going to get a 5% check. So I may have never even met Sue because Joe talked to Sue about oils, but I'm getting a residual 5% off of that sale. So this is where, when you start looking at the long-term benefit of that compounding snowball effect, this fast start really is an amazing way as your team grows that you're going to be getting long-term residuals. So like Leanne said, she's getting paid on things that she did 12 years ago. How many of us can say that about our jobs, right? So this is so amazing and super awesome that doTERRA does this 3 levels deep. Okay, go ahead and switch slides, Carrie. I'm going to go fast to kind of keep us on track. Okay, so power of 3. This is the second way that we're going to get paid with doTERRA. So you have fast start, power of 3. And this is where if you have 3 people on your top line, so if they enroll right underneath you, including your order, if they are doing their 100 PV order a month, which they talked about tonight, in order to get your paycheck, you have to do your 100 PV order. So you have 3 people plus yourself, and the 4 of you collectively at the top, you can see you have 600 team volume. You're going to get an extra $50 in your bonus that month. And so that's half of your order right there, right? So again, if we're sharing and we're starting to look at that rank advancement and we're creating these legs or these teams, this will naturally make itself. And so let's say everything we do, we want it to be duplicatable. So we want our people to know, hey, you want your $50 bonus. So you're going to begin sharing with them how to get their $50 bonus. Well, when your 3 people get their $50 bonus, you will get a $250 bonus. So see off to the right on that second level. So when your 3 people have their 3 people, you're going to get an extra $250 in your order, or in your paycheck every single month. And doTERRA pays that out on the 15th of every month. So payday is the 15th, except for the fast start that gets paid out every single week. Okay. So now let's say, because we want to duplicate everything, we want to teach our people, everybody in our team, how to get their $50 bonus. Again, if we keep it simple, we make it about helping people get their $50 bonus, and your people all are getting their $50 bonus. Look at the bottom, 3 levels deep, you're going to make an extra $1,500. So on top of everything else you're doing, you're going to get an extra $1,500 in your paycheck. Again, how many people would have an amazing shift in life if they could get an extra $1,500 on top of all of their other earnings? That's a game changer, right? So this can really, really begin helping families when we start mapping this out really strategically. So this is a powerful way of getting paid. Okay, Carrie, last slide. Go ahead and switch over. Okay, and this is Unilevel. I'm just going to touch on it really fast. I'm actually not going to go into a lot of it because just for time's sake, but at the right side where it's kind of blurred out, that's how typical companies pay it out. Usually they pay the highest percentage at the top and they pay the lowest percentage at the bottom, right? So as your team begins to build out and you have different people on different layers on your team, that's what this represents. The way that doTERRA did it was they kind of took the traditional model and they flipped it upside down. So what they've done is they're giving us the smallest percentage on our top level and the largest on the bottom. Now, why is this powerful? This is a total game changer because you have the majority of your people, again, in that snowball effect, all the way down as your team grows deeper and deeper and deeper. You could have thousands of people down on this bottom, 6th level, 7th level, 5 levels, thousands of people. Whereas on your top levels, you might have just a handful of people, right? So typical companies are going to pay you your highest percentage where you have the least amount of people and the most where you have the masses. Well, doTERRA is paying us the most percentage where we have the masses on our team, which is huge. So if you look at the very bottom, if you compare the 2 business models, with doTERRA, you'd be making, with this business model, $32,000, whereas your typical company, you'd be making $12,000. So that is a total game changer. So that's where doTERRA's compensation plan is like none other than that we have ever seen. It's super generous. And it's really amazing, again, when you start putting that strategy behind building it out smart and kind of hitting some of those goals. And again, you guys get to decide how fast or how slow you want to grow this. Okay, go ahead, Carrie. Okay. Gary, you're up.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Laura. That was Wonderful. It is a challenge for sure to try to explain the compensation plan succinctly, and you did very well at that. Thank you. I've just got a couple slides to close us out, so I'll be very brief. I am Gary Salmons. I'm Carrie Salmons, our host, a lead host tonight. I'm her husband. And so this slide here is to talk about a little bit about the one last piece of the compensation plan. They pay out what are called leadership performance pools. Think of them as we all share, okay, in the pie. We all get a piece of the larger pie of doTERRA. And because of that, and not just because of that, there's an incredible culture within doTERRA of working together, teamwork. I mean, there are leaders from all sorts of teams on this call alone, and that is the constant culture of doTERRA. And much of that is because as doTERRA grows, we are all leaders in doTERRA. We all benefit. That's not the only reason. They just have a wonderful culture for other reasons too. But that's a big part of it. I remember going to doTERRA's, my first convention with doTERRA, and experiencing that culture firsthand. And like, this is different. I was working in corporate America. I'm an attorney. I was working at Nationwide Insurance in downtown Columbus, and it is not a, it's a very competitive, try and, you know, get up on top of you mentality there. And I didn't love that environment. So I'm actually really loving the culture of doTERRA for that reason. I remember one time I had a performance review, and my boss in that performance review said, you know, Gary, you've got to compete more. You've got to compete more in your job. And I'm like, who the hell am I competing with? Like, I'm part of a team. We're all trying to reach the same goal. So who would I be competing against exactly? So that, you know, light bulb went off when I, not long after that, was interacting with folks at doTERRA and just realized we are all part of one giant team. And this is one piece of that. You'll find that with other direct sales companies. What I mean is you will not find that with other direct sales companies. Other direct sales folks come into doTERRA and they see that culture and they're like, this is unique, because at other companies, it's more dog eat dog. You can move on to the next slide. This is kind of, several folks have already kind of spoke to this point, but I think, or spoke into this point, but I think this is a good slide here. Your typical 10-year plan, if you have a job, again, jobs are great. We love people that have jobs. I've had jobs and been very grateful that I can support my family in those jobs. However, I do remember sitting at my desk distinctly one day after coming back from doTERRA's convention, okay, and kind of dreaming, sitting there as an attorney making pretty good money, typing out my opinion for a client that I had, thinking to myself, I'm going to bust my rear end doing this for the rest of my life, hoping I can eke out a 2% raise each year. And I was certainly not complaining about that. God had blessed me with a job, but I thought all I'm really doing is making somebody else's dreams come true. And I know Leanne mentioned that earlier, but it is true. Now, that's certainly an honorable thing. Everybody who has a job is great. But if you want something more than that, doTERRA and their business model provides that for you. And you can do it on whatever pace you want. There are folks on this call who have done it in the cracks of their life, right? And there are others who have quit their jobs and done it full strength in much quicker than 10 years. So it's you go at your own pace. Yeah, it's the difference between carrying buckets, okay, on the left-hand side and creating a pipeline. All right, you can move on to the last slide. So what is the next step? If you, and this has already kind of been mentioned, but the bottom line of this slide is connect with the person who invited you, connect with your person. If you already have a wholesale account, connect with the person who enrolled you, and they can help you upgrade your account to be a wellness advocate. And at that point, once you have a 100 PV LRP order set up, you can begin sharing and receiving a compensation from that. If you don't have a wholesale account, get started, get enrolled, get your kit, and get your LRP set up. There are, what's already been mentioned, there's many of awesome resources out there. There's more resources than you would ever need to do this business. You do not have to create anything. It is all there for you. Tap into it. And then you would connect with your person who enrolled you or invited you. You could host a class for them, get your list made, and start sampling. And you will not regret it. I can tell you this is a wonderful, amazing business and a fantastic opportunity. I'm so grateful for everybody on this call who shared. I've so enjoyed it. So I'm done. Thank you.
Did he get you fired up? Because he got me fired up just listening. Thank you, Gary. And I'll tell you, the day that he shared with me that when we had that heart to heart, this is back in 2013, actually, when my little side hustle was that I couldn't help but to share doTERRA, and it was growing and growing because I couldn't help sharing these things that have changed my life. And I had a heart to heart with him one day, and I said, I'm going to either have to hire someone to help with the business or hire somebody to help with the kids, because it's growing so fast and something's got to give. And I don't have enough time and resources to manage it all to the best of my ability. And he said, well, what if that person is me? And I about fainted. And yet at the same time, it was like the most beautiful answer, unexpected answer to my prayer. And we've had so much fun getting to create time freedom, financial freedom, homeschool our kids because we had the time and the ability to do that. And so it's just, and the adventure keeps going. So I want to just thank all of you for being on here and leaning in. And I hope that this actually helped to answer some of your questions and probably created additional questions that you have. So I want you to make sure you write those questions down somewhere so that you can circle up with the person that invited you to watch this. Or if you can't think of whom else to go to, you can always come to Gary or I or any of the other leaders that spoke tonight during this call. And before we wrap up with one final testimonial from our friend Tennille, I just wanted to let you know that our next round of team-wide continuing education, which Laura mentioned, we have amazing free education for everybody that's part of our team. And we're currently taking like a little break, and the next round we do this every quarter. So the next round is launching April 7th, and so it'll be every Thursday during April and May. So save the date now. We want you to mark your calendar. The class lineup is going to be phenomenal. I'm really excited about the classes. It's all fresh, new content. You don't want to miss it. So let me stop the share here. And Tennille, are you here with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want, in closing this up, I think you have a really powerful, unique story to share too. So wrap us up.
All right. So, hi guys. I am Tennille Schoonover. I am just north of Columbus, and I am a Blue Diamond in doTERRA. So when I first was introduced to oils, much like many of the stories that you guys heard tonight, it was with zero intention of doing the business. I was working for my dad full time. We had extracurriculars, 4 kids, well, at least 3 kids and 1 on the way at the time. And I was the sole provider for our family's income. So there was zero. Can I tell you how many zeros there were? Zero chance of me doing the business. But like many of these other guys have shared, is that this just happened naturally. I started naturally sharing because I have seen oils work for me and my family. And I had always grown up with somewhat of a mindset. I'm going to say somewhat. We didn't use a whole lot of medications, but I always had that thing in the back of my mind that I didn't want to become immune to pharmaceuticals. So those were like last ditch effort whenever I would use medicines. So I had already had that mindset, but I wasn't really super crunchy. But when you love something and you see that it works, it makes it so much easier to share naturally. And that's what I did. And I did it very casually. I had a couple classes here and there, and working for your family. I don't know how many of you guys have ever worked in a family business, but the dynamic is very unique. I have an amazing group of family. Like I have an amazing family. Okay. I worked for my dad and my uncle. My dad and my uncle did not get along. They still don't get along, but they own the business and I worked for them. And it was very stressful. Extremely stressful. And I would come home from days and I wouldn't know quite how to talk to one of them. I had a great relationship with both of them independently. So I was interpreting. I felt like an English interpreter for English. Like that's how much it was. So I then finally came home to my husband and I said, it's very stressful. I'm also missing out on pool parties, class parties. I'm wanting to take my kids to and from school and I'm not able to do that. And I said, I kind of want what you have, like, because my husband was a stay-at-home dad, and he was like, okay. And I couldn't ask him to certainly get a job because he was a teacher by education, and he had been out of the teaching world for enough time where his certificate expired. And so I'm like, what do I do? And God kept saying doTERRA. And I'm like, okay, I don't do sales. Do you know that, right? God, you know, I don't do sales. And kept telling me, you need to share doTERRA with intention. And that's what I talked to my husband. And I said, I think doTERRA is how I'm going to be able to get our replace our income. And so from that point on, I called my upline, Laura, and who you heard from earlier. And I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. I have a why. I have a why that will drive me until I hit my goal. And so I did. I just started sharing with intention. So I don't feel like I ever started selling, but I started sharing with intention. And that's really what I want you guys to be encouraged with, is that we all come from different backgrounds. We are mothers, we are fathers, we are in the medical world, we're in the teaching world, we're in so many different aspects, but we all have unique gifts that will allow us to do this business in a way that is how you want to do this business at. This business is not a cookie cutter business. It is however you want it to look like, and how you share that makes you feel comfortable will make you successful. So anyway, I was able to retire from my dad's job about I made that decision in 2013 in May, and I retired in 2016 in May. So it took me about 3 years, and I worked in the nooks and crannies of my job. I slowly was able to pull back to part-time after I was able to balance those numbers. But it was so wonderful when I was able to tell my dad, I'm just going to stay home. And he looked at me and he said, I am so proud of you. And I just about started crying. I am not an empathetic person. So for him to say that and me to well up some tears, it took a lot. So, but guys, I hope that you have been given hope tonight with an alternative, with all the things that are going on. This is a viable, wonderful business to be a part of. This group of people that you have on tonight's call is a group of people that you want to be surrounded with. They will lift you up and they will support you, and they will all have your back. And it's just so wonderful. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And I appreciate all of my friends that are on here as well. So thank you.
Oh, I'm getting all emotional. Thank you for all of you who shared your heartfelt stories. And, that was just the tip of the iceberg. So if something in your heart just feels like it's nudged, maybe a small voice in your ear or something that's just saying, hey, I'm curious to learn more, reach out to your person. Gary gave you that list of next steps. And if you really don't know who to reach out to, you can reach out to any one of us and we'll help point you in the right direction.